I was diagnosed with endometriosis in 2013. I always had painful periods growing up, and I just thought that was normal. As I get older, my periods got more and more painful, and I decided to go to a doctor because I was having some issues with that, and she said that I didn't have endometriosis even though I had all the symptoms. And she said the only way to tell if you had endometriosis was to do surgery, and she's like, you don't want to have unnecessary surgery, so we'll just do an ultrasound. And she found that I had a mass on my left ovary, and she said it was just a cyst, and you know, many women normally have cysts and it would just eventually go away and not to worry about it. So I went back 8 weeks later for another ultrasound, and the cyst was still there. It hadn't changed or anything, and she said the exact same thing, and she said come back in 8 weeks and we'll do another ultrasound. So I went back and it still hadn't changed, and I was just tired of going continually having no change, hearing her say the same thing. So I wanted a second opinion, and I switched to a different doctor, and she said the exact same thing. She said, oh no, you don't have endometriosis. And even though I told her I had all the symptoms, she still said that I didn't have it and she didn't want to look into it. She said the same thing about my cyst, and at this time we had been trying for a couple years to get pregnant without any success. And so I was asking her, you know, is this causing issues? And she said, oh no, it's, you know, it's just normal. It'll go away on its own. Well, over the course of being monitored, it kept getting bigger and bigger, and I was just having so much pain. My periods were just awful and just so painful. So finally, I wasn't getting anywhere. I switched and went to a fertility specialist, and he did an ultrasound, and he looked at it and he's like, you know what? That looks like it might be an endometrioma. You might have endometriosis. And I was like, yes, somebody is finally listening to me and they're willing to look into it and see what is going on. So that was January of 2013, and I had a laparoscopic surgery in March of 2013, and he found that I had severe endometriosis, and I had it just all over my whole abdomen area. I even had it all the way up to my diaphragm, and the mass on my ovary, he was able to remove that, and it was bigger than my ovary. I think it was about 5 centimeters. And he found that my endometriosis was so bad that my ovaries were squished into my other organs, and basically they weren't even in the right spot to even be able to get pregnant. He was able to get my ovaries back into the correct spot and take care of as much endometriosis as he could. Now, he didn't know if it would come back right away or if it'd come back at all. He said it may not. So I was actually pain-free for 2 months after my surgery, and it was so nice not to have any pain. It was just like, wow, is this what a period is supposed to be like? I could actually handle having a period each month. So after the 2 months were up, I started getting a little bit of pain, and by 4 months after my surgery, I was in just as much pain as before I had my surgery. And that was very discouraging to me, because I couldn't have surgery every couple months to help manage the pain. My pain was getting so bad that it just hurt. Not when I was just on my period. It hurt the whole week before my period. It hurt the whole week of my period, plus the whole week after. And there was usually about a week in there that I didn't have as much pain, if any at all. And so it affected my everyday life. It hurt to just walk, because the impact of my foot hitting the ground would travel up my leg into my pelvic area, and it was just so painful. The motion of sitting down, that pressure on the seat, hurt my whole pelvic area. And so just my whole life was just wrapped around this pain, and just chronic pain, excruciating pain, and I didn't know how to deal with it. And being monitored after my surgery, they found that mass on my ovary had grown back, and I think it was about 9 to 10 months after my surgery, the mass on my ovary was the same size as when I had my surgery. So it was very discouraging that my endometriosis had come back so quickly and so aggressively, and it was just very discouraging. So almost exactly a year after my surgery, I ended up getting pregnant naturally, which was a complete shock and complete surprise, because I didn't even think it was possible with my endometriosis being so bad. And being pregnant was so good for my body to heal, because when you have endometriosis and you're pregnant, you're not having those hormones that are aggravating it and causing it to causing the inflammation. You're not having a period, so obviously your body is not going through that process of inflammation and the shedding inside your whole pelvic area. So my body was actually able to heal. I had to be closely monitored at first because I had some bleeding, which was just a hematoma, and they wanted to keep an eye on that and make sure everything was okay, make sure the baby was okay. And so I had several ultrasounds towards the beginning, and they could see that mass on my ovary shrinking. So my body was actually starting to heal itself while I was pregnant. It was so nice to be pain-free those months of pregnancy. My body had a chance to heal. I was not in that chronic pain. I could freely do activities like exercising, which I wasn't able to do before. So it was just really nice to be able to have my body have a chance to heal. Now, I was looking forward to the postpartum part. I was hoping that my period would not come back and it would stay away as long as possible. Well, unfortunately, that was not the case. Even though I was breastfeeding every 2 hours, and I still am, even at 13 months, my period came back at 6.5 weeks, and I was completely shocked and pretty disappointed, because I knew that with my period coming back, then there was a chance of my endometriosis coming back. I didn't have too much pain those first couple months, and recently I've been feeling my pain come back a little bit here and there, and these last couple cycles it's been more and more. It's nowhere near where it was back right before I got pregnant, but I can feel it heading in that direction, and I'm pretty discouraged about it. And so I want to make some changes that is going to help maybe get me ahead on managing my pain and hopefully not get to where I was. So the first thing I want to do is I want to take a progesterone, not a supplement, but like a cream or an oil or something, because I've heard a lot of women have success with that. I actually started taking one right before I got pregnant, but I ended up getting pregnant and I never had a period when I was on that. So I don't know if that would have helped or not, but I did start taking that, and so I wanted to start taking that again to see if maybe that would help help manage my pain and help it not come back so bad. The other change I'm going to be making is a diet change, and that is going to be a big change. I should have done this months ago, but it's going to be a really hard one. I'll put the link to the website where I got this information from. It's specifically an endometriosis diet. So the first thing I'm going to be cutting out is soy. I already pretty much cut out soy anyways. The second thing is sugar. That's going to be the absolute hardest for me because I love sugar. I crave sugar. I have to have some sort of sweet dessert every night, and sugar is really bad because it causes inflammation and it's just really not good for you anyways, and I know that I need to cut back. I'm not going to be substituting stevia or other sweeteners. I don't like stevia for one, and two, I just want to kick my sweet tooth. I want to get rid of that craving and not substitute it with anything else. The next thing is gluten. That is going to be something that is very hard because I love bread, I love all those kind of things, but I need to give that up. I'm not going to be substituting like gluten-free bread and all those other gluten-free substitutes because they add a lot of starches to it, and I've done that before in the past, and it's really messed with my gut, my digestive system, so I'm not going to be doing that. The next thing is dairy. I already pretty much cut out all dairy except for a little bit of cheese here and there, so I'm just going to cut that out completely. I already use almond milk in my cereal, and I also use the Earth Balance vegan soy-free spread, so really cutting out dairy is not going to be that difficult. It's just the cheese. Another thing that's going to be a little difficult to cut out is red meat. We eat a lot of beef, and that's something that can cause inflammation, so I'm just going to cut that out completely. So I think that's everything that I'm going to be avoiding, and it's going to be challenging, especially making 2 separate meals, one for my husband and one for me. I'm really willing to go on this diet in hopes that it'll help manage my pain and keep my endometriosis from getting really bad, because I just can't handle that kind of pain, especially having a toddler and trying to chase him around and just trying to be a mom and just live a normal life, and just living in chronic pain like that. I can't do that. I'm planning on doing maybe an update video in a couple months from now, just to kind of give my body time to adjust to this new diet and see if maybe it helps, because I don't think it's going to help right away. I think it's going to be something over time. So I'm going to do an update in a couple months, but in the meantime, I'm still going to be doing my other videos. I'll do some recipe videos. I'll do some, what's for dinner videos, so you can kind of see what I'm eating, since I'm avoiding so much. What am I going to be eating? And so I want to do some videos on that. So I hope you found this video helpful and encouraging. That's my goal with my channel, is to just really encourage others. And if you're going through the same thing that I'm going through, whether it's endometriosis or something else, I feel your pain. I know what it's like to just have that pain, and my heart goes out to you. So I really hope that this can encourage you. And if you have any health issues and you want to go on some sort of a diet or whatever, I hope this video inspires you, and I hope that you'll subscribe and join me on this journey to wellness and pain-free, hopefully. So thanks for watching, and don't forget to subscribe.